Hello everyone, welcome to my update US gossip channel. The day started like any other at the sprawling Kody Pass compound, but a sense of unease hung in the air, subtle at first, almost imperceptible, as if the desert winds themselves were whispering secrets that no one dared acknowledge, and Kody Brown, usually measured, controlled, and painstakingly deliberate in his interactions with his wives, suddenly seemed frayed at the edges, pacing between the sleek white walls of the living room and the polished wood of the hallway, checking his phone. Compulsively, glancing at the clock as if waiting for some inevitable storm to break, while Robyn Brown, seated on the plush cream sofa with the sunlight falling across her perfectly styled hair, maintained her usual calm, serene expression, a slight tilt of her head suggesting curiosity, but her eyes, those ever-calculating eyes, betrayed the tension that had been simmering for weeks, ever since rumors of irregularities in the Kody Pass property deeds had begun circulating among the sisters. Whispers that someone might have tampered with the documents, that something essential had been altered, forged even, and as the clock struck noon, the confrontation Kody had been avoiding for months finally erupted, like lightning cracking across the desert sky, a tremor of inevitability that no one in the house could escape, and Kody, taking a deep breath, finally broke the silence with a voice that, though steady, carried an undercurrent of barely contained fury. "Robyn, we need to talk. Now." Robyn's composure did not falter, though the faintest quiver in her fingers betrayed that she had sensed this moment approaching, the crescendo of secrets and lies that had been quietly accumulating in the shadows of their seemingly perfect family life, and as she rose to meet him, the camera captured the tension in every movement, the way her hand lingered on the back of the sofa, the slight narrowing of her eyes, the almost imperceptible shift in weight as she prepared for whatever Kody was about to reveal, and then the words came, jagged, sharp, and cutting through the thin walls of civility they had maintained for years. "Robyn, it's over. You're leaving." Effective immediately. The room seemed to stop, the silence thick and suffocating, as if time itself had paused to witness this unprecedented declaration, and Robyn, for the first time in years, allowed a flicker of genuine shock to cross her face, a subtle gasp escaping her lips, before she masked it with her signature calm, tilting her chin slightly and responding, "Kody, what are you talking about?" But Kody, unwavering, continued, pacing the room like a caged lion, each word precise, deliberate, and imbued with the authority he had cultivated over decades. "The deeds, Robyn. They're forged. The Kody Pass property, the shares, everything you've been manipulating, it ends now. The courts have seen the evidence. And there's more. Much more." Robyn's eyes widened imperceptibly, the camera catching the flicker of panic as she processed the weight of the revelation, and Kody, sensing her internal struggle, pressed further. "There's a child, Robyn. A secret child, one that's not mine, one that's been kept from the family, from the children, from me, and the court will not stand for the deception. I've tried to protect you, to protect all of us, but this is unforgivable." The room seemed to shrink as the magnitude of his accusation hung in the air, suffocating, as the sisters, Christine, Mary, and Janelle, stood just outside the doorway, cameras rolling, hearts pounding, unable to intervene but fully aware that this moment would forever alter the trajectory of their family, and Robyn, usually so poised, felt the walls closing in, the world narrowing to a single point of fear and disbelief, a trembling voice barely above a whisper escaping her lips, "Kody, you can't, you're wrong." But Kody's gaze was unrelenting, unwavering, his voice rising, carrying the weight of authority, of betrayal, of years of unspoken grievances. "I am not wrong, Robyn. The evidence is irrefutable. Your manipulation, your lies, your hidden deeds, and the child, it all ends today. You are out. Now. The courts back me. The family backs me. And there is nothing left for you here." Robyn's face fell, a storm of emotions crossing her features, shock, anger, despair, disbelief, as she realized that the fortress of control she had built around herself, the influence she had wielded, the quiet manipulations that had kept the other wives at bay, were crumbling in a single, devastating blow, and as she gathered herself, muttering, "This isn't over, Kody, you think you've won," Kody cut her off, pointing to the door, a gesture more final than any words could convey. "It is over. Robyn. Pack your things. You leave today. The silence that followed was deafening, the sisters' whispers growing louder behind the cameras as Christine muttered, "I can't believe this is happening." Robyn, after everything, while Mary's eyes welled up with tears, and Janelle gripped the doorway, fists clenched, sensing the monumental shift in family dynamics, and as Robyn slowly turned, the weight of the world on her shoulders, the camera capturing every step, every glance back at the family she had once ruled over, Kody's voice, calm now but edged with steel, punctuated the moment, "This is the only way forward. For all of us. For the family." And as the door closed behind Robyn, the desert wind outside whipping across the empty hallway, the audience could almost feel the echo of the upheaval, the shattering of trust, the irreparable fractures forming, as legal notices, court documents, and whispers of betrayal began to circulate like wildfire, lawyers convening, evidence being reviewed, the forged deeds laid bare for the first time in a courtroom, and as cameras cut to commercial, fans around the world sat stunned, mouths agape. Hearts racing, knowing that this was only the beginning of a saga of heartbreak, deception, courtroom drama, and family betrayal unlike anything sister wives had ever seen before, the fallout inevitable, the consequences monumental, and the question lingering in everyone's minds, how did it come to this, and what, if anything, could be salvaged from the ruins of a family that had once seemed unshakable? As Robyn's heels clicked against the hardwood floors, the echoes reverberating through the vast halls of Coyote Pass like a grim metronome counting down the moments of her rapidly collapsing world, Kody remained in the center of the living room, chest heaving slightly, a mixture of triumph, exhaustion, and grief flashing across his usually stoic features, because even in victory there was pain, a bitter knowledge that families are never truly whole once secrets are unveiled, and as the cameras lingered on his face, capturing the subtle tightening of his jaw and the furrow in his brow, the scene cut to Christine, Mary, and Janelle, standing together, an unspoken alliance forming between the ex-wives who had endured Robyn's quiet manipulations and subtle power plays for years, and the air around them was thick with the scent of tension, anticipation, and the undeniable thrill of watching the scales of justice tip, because in this moment, the show was no longer just about polygamy, family dynamics, or the occasional awkward dinner. It was about betrayal, lies, and the shocking, almost cinematic unveiling of truths long buried, the kind of revelations that make fans across the world gasp, rewind, and debate fiercely in online forums. And as the scene transitioned to the courtroom, the atmosphere shifted from tense domestic confrontation to a sterile arena of legal precision, the courthouse buzzing with reporters, cameras, and murmuring spectators, all hungry for a glimpse into the private chaos of a family once held up as an idealized experiment in plural marriage, and Robyn, now seated in the defendant's section, her expression a carefully curated mask of calm, betrayed only by the occasional twitch of her fingers or the slight narrowing of her eyes as she watched Kody enter with a measured stride, his lawyer by his side, a stack of documents clutched firmly in his hand, each sheet a piece of the puzzle, each paragraph a dagger exposing years of deception. While the judge, an imposing figure with an air of no-nonsense authority, glanced at the files, looked over the rim of her glasses, and finally, her gavel poised, called the courtroom to order with a force that seemed to shake the very foundations of the room, a perfect reflection of the emotional tremors shaking the Brown family to its core, and as the hearing began, the evidence was laid bare with dramatic intensity, deeds with suspicious alterations highlighted for the court, signatures scrutinized and verified by forensic experts, emails and text messages read aloud in tense, deliberate cadence, each one revealing manipulations Robyn had executed quietly, cunningly, over months and years, all designed to consolidate influence, obscure ownership, and, most devastatingly, to hide the existence of a child whose paternity had been kept secret from Kody and the rest of the family, a revelation that sent ripples of shock through the gallery. And cameras caught the fleeting moments of disbelief on Christine's face, the constricted grief on Mary's, and the tightly controlled outrage of Janelle, as murmurs of "I can't believe it," and "this is insane," filled the background, layered over the tense narration that had become a hallmark of the series, because the audience needed to feel every heartbeat, every skipped breath, every creeping sense of betrayal as it unfolded in excruciating detail, and Robyn, attempting to defend herself, rose, her voice strong but edged with vulnerability, "Your Honor, I never intended to deceive Kody. This child, this situation, it was complicated, it was," but Kody's lawyer interjected, calm yet devastatingly precise. Complicated? Your Honor, this was a deliberate, calculated deception. The deeds were forged. The child was concealed. The family's trust was violated. The law is clear, and the court must act accordingly, and the judge, flipping through the pages of evidence, nodded slightly, her voice firm, echoing through the hushed courtroom. Ms. Robyn Brown, the evidence presented is both extensive and convincing. The forgery of property deeds and the concealment of a child's existence constitute serious breaches. I am compelled to rule in favor of Mr. Kody Brown regarding property distribution and guardianship clarification, and as her words rang out, the courtroom seemed to freeze, capturing the moment with the heightened drama fans of Sister Wives had come to expect, while outside, the desert sun cast long, accusatory shadows over the property, the wind whipping through the trees as if nature itself were bearing witness to the unraveling of a family saga that had captivated viewers for years, and in that moment, Robyn's carefully constructed world, the alliances, the influence, the subtle coercions, crumbled, and as she